Welcome, new beginners. Thank you for coming back to the New Beginnings After 40 podcast. I'm Lori.
I'm Kimberly.
I'm Jen.
So this week's topic is going to be a highs and lows of menopause, and we'll make it fun, don't worry. And before we get into that, we're going to talk about our weeks, and then, of course, we're going to have Crazy Kim's story time. So why don't we start with, Kimberly, why don't you tell us about what happened in your week?
Well, gosh, a lot. I have stuff to do every day. Well, I guess it's Mother's Day was Sunday. And so my mother, is staying with me right now. And then my sister and nephew and my other nephew came into town. So we had Mother's Day. I went to bed, and then my mom actually woke me up to say, "Hey, it's time to get up." And so then I went upstairs, gave her presents, and did all of that. And then I'm like, "Where's mine?" I'm so excited. Where my kids. And I will tell you that always in the past they are horrible. My son did one thing for me. I don't know. What was he? 12 maybe? He had made a picture of a baby and did this really cute, pretty saying and framed it. And then every year he goes, Do you remember? Do you remember when I made that? That's still your Mother's Day.
That works for years to come.
Oh my gosh. And then this year I even wrote it on the refrigerator. I wrote it in my daughter's notebook. Said, "Hey, Mother's Day, Mother's Day." I mean, it's really sad that I have to do that. But anyway, so, nope, they had nothing. And even the day before, my husband tried to, tell Alyssa, because we were at Target, let's go off and go get your mom stuff. Nope. She said, I'll do it later. And that was on Saturday before Mother's Day.
Well, just to back that up, I got the same thing. I think everyone probably has the same thing at some point. But same thing as here is I have to not only remind my child that it's Mother's Day, but I also get my husband's mom a card for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Because I think that men just, they just aren't capable of doing
No.
it at all.
They're not like we are.
No.
No. And so then I might have acted like a child, but I went to my room because I was so sad, and I closed the door and I locked it. And my daughter comes down to try to come in. Mom, why is the door locked? And so I'm just like, I just want to be alone. And so then I guess while I was in my bedroom or whatever, I guess my husband gave my daughter some money, and she went to the store and she bought me a huge bag of all kinds of things. And then she bought me this bracelet that says mom and
nice
stuff. And so I'm like, okay, I was happy. And then my son said, I got you on Thursday or maybe Friday. I don't know when I get paid. And I'm just like, okay.
That's the difference between boys and girls.
Oh, well, Alyssa could have done it earlier. Okay, so yes, and then we just went out to eat at Rio Mamba, and then so it was a great day. But yes, I was very sad in the morning. So that was on Mother's Day, and then for the week, I actually went and got a massage with Jen. And then I went and made an appointment because on Facebook they had a coupon special for this place. Oh my gosh, for facial for $59. And it was about red light therapy, where for your skin. I'm like, I really want to do that. So I went, and I got talked into buying the machine, the hand thing for the red light therapy that you put the collagen on. But it came with the moisturizers, it came with vitamin C, it came with the eye serum, and all of that. And I did it for the first time today. The actual collagen with the machine, the little handheld, and I'm just like, 4 minutes here, 4 minutes here, 4 minutes here. And I'm like,
did you have your timer out and everything?
I did. I put it on my phone. I did. And then the crazy thing is that when you put on anything, your moisturizers at night, everything's at night. And you put it on with the little handheld thing. Yeah, it's so weird. But I'm doing it because I said, all right, well, I'm almost 50. I don't want to look 50. So here, let me do these lines here so I can try to stay young. So, that's pretty much.
I'm excited to see how that goes. I've never known you. I mean, of course, you see them on the infrared. Do they still call them infomercials in the evening that you will see if you're up at 2 a.m. and so you try to get on TV?
My mom bought my sister for her birthday the white mask. It looks like I don't know, Jason Voorhees. And she bought her that for her birthday, and that was quite expensive, and she uses it and she loves it.
Okay.
So now I'm gonna try this, and they said 2 to 3 months, and then it comes with a facial once a month. So we're gonna see.
Comes with the facial once a month?
Once a month. So I am, so we're going to see if this works, because I really hope it does. My biggest thing is, I don't know why I have a fetish with this, but my neck.
Oh gosh, I don't want to hear about it.
Oh my God. So my neck is tight right now, but I don't know why. I fear the day that I start to get the wrinkles and I don't know why. I don't know where that came from. But this is just me.
At least you weren't cut open like
I
was, and they didn't put it back right. If you're gonna cut your neck open, because I have disc surgery, at least put it back. At least it's gone down a lot. But in the beginning, I had all this
swollen.
oh my gosh, I was like, I'm gonna be like this forever.
But you did. It did. It went down. But
it has gone down, but it's still not right.
Yeah. No. Other than that, just the same old, going to the gym, working out. Yeah. How about you, Jen?
I went and got my very first facial ever because she had hers and it made me really want one. And I loved it. I have always been kind of nervous because I have sensitive skin and I never know if I'm going to break out in rashes. So I finally was like, I think I forgot that was the reason I'd never done it until you reminded me. And I was like,
because I said, "Oh my God, you got a facial?" And I said, "With your skin?" And then you said,
"Yes." And she told me that they recommend you coming in every 5 weeks, and I said, "I will absolutely be back."
Well, now I got to go next.
Yeah,
because I was afraid, like you were, that I have sensitive skin as well, so I was kind of afraid.
I had a little bit of the red, but it wasn't as bad as some of the facial lotions I've tried in the past that have just completely blistered my skin.
Give you like face burn.
Yes, exactly. So it didn't. It was wonderful, so relaxing. I felt clean and just moisturized.
And they cleaned all your pores,
everything.
Out my
pores. It was amazing. And I actually, the whole time I was in there, I thought this is the same price as my massage. I think if I was going to do one or the other once a month, it would definitely be the facial.
Really?
Yes.
So how did it doesn't hurt, does it?
No. It just mostly just massaging your face. Each product is another massage, another massage, another massage. And then she did my head. And she did my neck and my shoulders and my chest. And each massage was like a mask or cream or whatever she was putting on.
I want to go.
Did you know that you could go, they have the cosmetology school. It's on Harwood. And you can go there, and it's like they're higher level, not just starting out. Yeah. And you can pay, I can't remember, $35 or $40, and you can go get an hour facial from there. And so that, and they do a great job because they have to have their supervisors come over and look at you. And so, of course, they're trying to do the best. And
so is it comfortable, though? Because at least I was in a room all by myself.
They have the curtains that close all the way around. Okay. So you're not seeing anybody. Yeah. So, Alyssa and I go.
Where is this place y'all went to?
Mine's in Grapevine Mills Mall.
Oh.
Mine was right next to our massage place that we took you to.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason we left the massage place and I went next door and booked a facial.
Okay.
Yeah, because didn't I just come back?
You had, before the massage, you had gotten the facial and the red light stuff that day.
Make you go with me.
I'll go with you. Well, I'll go. But you're in your own room, so.
Yeah, I know, but
at least we have that,
energy.
That energy that we're all together.
Let me go ahead and tell you. So this place, you can hear in each room. And so I'm laying there and I'm the only one in the whole building at this point. And then I hear a lady come in and go, I'm here for my Brazilian. And they said, okay. And they got her set up in the room next to me. And I'm like, please, for the love of God, don't scream. Don't scream. I'm so chill right now. If she starts screaming.
Yeah, you're not going to be chill.
She didn't. She was very, ooh, yeah, it's been like 3 months. I felt that one. I was like, you are a trooper, man.
There's no way.
I took everything I had not to be like, I'm so proud of you over there.
Do you know what that reminds me of? Bad Mom's Christmas when the guy goes in. Oh my gosh. I mean, I could watch that scene over and over just because of his
You
character.
love him.
I do love him.
Okay.
Wow.
So, Lori, we've been talking a lot. How about your week, babe?
I need to have y'all's week is what I need to have.
Yeah.
Because I did not have a great week. So I think I talked last week in last week's episode that, we got some kind of unsettling news about my mom. And so we were approaching Mother's Day, of course. And then, of course, this was Mother's Day. So on Sunday, I did drive over there to spend the day with her. And so as it kind of turned out, she was told that she had a blood clot in her head. She'd been having migraines for months, really. And so she had gone and gotten an MRI and then a CT. And so that's what she was told. So then I found out last Friday, when I was recording last week's podcast, that she couldn't get in to see a neurologist until this week. And so that, obviously, I worried all week long about, could she have a stroke at any moment? You know, this kind of scary thought. So it wasn't a great week. And then she actually saw the neurologist yesterday, I should say. And then he basically said that she needed to go draw labs and then go to the ER and be checked in to have heparin IV done. So she does that. She doesn't get into basically to see anyone for 4 hours in the ER. And then they finally were like, well, we're going to do a CT first before and make sure that you don't have any bleeds before we're going to put you on heparin. Obviously makes sense. You don't want to bleed out. And so anyway, so she finally ended up in a room. Of course, she didn't even want to be there because she was worried about her dogs at home.
Yeah.
That's really where she wanted to be. And so I just kind of said, well, if you don't come home, then they're really going to miss you. So you have to go get this checked out. So basically we were up all night worrying about her test because they didn't do the last test until 1 a.m. And so it's been a long night for me. And then today the neurologist comes in and says, you don't have any clots at all. No tumors, no clots, no nothing.
Oh my gosh.
So of course that's a silver lining.
Yes.
Yay.
Yeah.
But how was the neurologist that off from the one at the hospital?
Well, yeah.
Because obviously the hospital wouldn't have done those kinds of things to you if they don't have a deeper dive into it.
Sure.
So they would have required those additional tests anyway. But why didn't he require those
all
additional
this
tests?
stress and worrying.
So in the end, she does have migraine problems, obviously. He said all of the symptoms she's been having are from migraines and that she has been on a medication for migraines, but he said they do make other ones that are better suited that have kind of cover all of the symptoms and more of a even preventative from having the migraines all the time, which I know you could benefit from too. Mm-hmm. So he said if you're put on the right medication, then, and unfortunately this neurologist he just works for the hospital, so she can't get in to see him privately. But she clearly doesn't want to go back to the one that she was sent to the hospital from because I don't know if he read the chart wrong. I don't know what happened, but how he could be that wrong.
Yeah, to get a whole heparin.
He only said that she had a blood clot from the back of her head to her front of her.
Oh my god!
It wasn't just a small blood clot. So again, it's been a really rough day for me. I've been up and down, and not much sleep. So anyway, it's been kind of a roller coaster of emotions. So
I'm so sorry that you had to go through that and your mom.
So we'll fast forward past that. So I am in a better place now because, of course, I'm with my girls, and they always make me feel better. So I'm feeling very grateful this evening to have nothing wrong with my mom, thankfully, and be around my best friend. So.
Yay!
And of course it's race week, which is why I have on my hat and Simply Lovely shirt this evening. And so this week it'll be in Italy. It's the Imola. There's actually 2 in Italy, but this is Imola. So I'm excited for that. And so before we get into our topic,
Wait.
yeah, what?
But guess who started watching the F1
yes.
on Netflix?
So I actually got her to watch the Netflix series Drive to Survive. So maybe I'm going to have somebody support me in this F1 venture.
Yes,
that would
because
be
now
awesome.
I understand when she's talking, I
Yeah.
understand what's going on. And now I'm halfway through season 2.
Yeah.
So it
gotta
actually
learn.
is interesting. And I like that I can talk about it with her and I understand the lingo.
Yeah, because it's really great because it's not just watching a race every weekend. We're like invested in the people, the drivers, their personalities, off the track stuff. I mean, that kind of stuff. So.
Do you think that if they didn't have the Netflix series, do you think that you would have gotten into it?
No, and that's most the case. So I actually watched another. I watch a lot of YouTube podcasts. So I watched one this week, and actually one of the team principals that's a current team principal now, I could listen to him all day long. He has the greatest motivating voice of all time. But they were talking about the growth in America, and that the growth of America is spawned from Netflix, Drive to Survive, because there is a lot of people who only watch Drive to Survive and not really watch live racing. You've got 2 fan polls. And the reason that it's so successful now is, I mean, let's just take a small thing like Austin, for example. Because that race has been there for now a little over 10 years. I think it's like 12 years or so. So in the beginning, when they first started Austin, you maybe had 100,000 people there. Last year, when we went, 440,000 people. So that is why the fan grace has grown so big.
And we're going next year.
Oh, yeah, we already are. I've already talked to somebody this week about going.
Well,
he tried to get me to go this year.
I'm going.
Good.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I'm going to have a partner. Because if you go with me, then I don't have to pay for me and Christopher and my husband. So, okay. So that's enough race because Jen's not into it. So we don't want to spoil her with that. So
Listening to it all day.
Watch it.
yeah. So next up before we dive into our topic is Crazy Kim's story of the week. So what you got for us this week?
Well, I had to just think because there's so many. So I'm going to go back to when I was a teenager. This will be a funny story. So when I was 14, of course, I grew up in Alabama. We had a huge lake there, and it was a small town. And so my dad and I had went to the lake. And it was just he and I, and he wanted to lay out because he loved to get his little suntan. And I was, just going in the lake, laying down next to him. And then I decided I just wanted to go walk around. So there's a playground there. I mean, and softball fields where I played softball my whole life. And so there was a guy who was a little older. And
How much older?
we're not going to go there.
Okay.
And so we were talking. I knew him. And we were talking. And he's like, hey, you want to go to the store? And I'm like, yeah, let's go. Now, I'm on the other side. So my dad doesn't know that that I'm leaving. So we go to the store and I get water and then he gets MadDog 2020. So we go back and when we're just sitting in the car and then, okay, I know I'm 14, but I will admit it. Yes, I was drinking the MadDog 2020 also. But if you're in the sun drinking, oh my gosh, it really intensifies. And then if you're 14, oh my God, please. So I was like, okay, so we finished that. And then I'm like, okay, I got to go see my dad. And so I walked out to Dad and I do not feel good. And I said, Dad, I said, can we go home? I'm just tired and my stomach hurts. And so he's like, yeah, of course. And so then we pack up, we get in the car, we go home. And so my mom happened to be, I think she was in a wheelchair at this time. And she happened to be near the front door. And so we came home and she saw us. So she came out the front door. And I didn't say a word. It was just my dad and I. I don't say a word. And my mom looks at me and goes, John, she's drunk. No, I'm not, Dad. Dad, no, I'm not. John, she is drunk. Look at her. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, Mom. I've been at the lake with Dad. And then, so then she yells again. And then I literally just threw up everywhere. And I was like, what? How did you get drunk? And I was like, oh. So, yeah, that was a crazy fun story that I had to tell. But the one thing that, I in my growing up, teenage years especially, I always say that I know what I did. So I don't want my daughter to do that.
Oh, I've totally done that.
Thank goodness she's 17 and she's barely touched the surface of doing anything that I did. I'm so lucky. I only have like 7-8 more months till she's 18 and then she's going to graduate. And so, but yeah, so I wanted to go back to my teenage years because I have so many stories on my teenage years.
Yeah, I do.
Can't wait till next week.
I want to say, yes, me neither. I want to say before we start into the topic, though, you know that you're on the right podcast after 40 when you know what MadDog 2020 is. I'll throw out another one, Purple Passion.
It's Strawberry Hill.
Strawberry Hill, Purple Passion. The funny part about that is with the Strawberry Hill is, I told this story in our first episode about my husband and I's past, that we had met when we were in high school, or I was in high school, he was older. And it all started because my friend was drinking too much Strawberry Hill and therefore did not catch that me and Joe were flirting. So I always think about that. And then during those days, we were drinking MadDog 2020 and all that stuff. So it's so funny. I think they still actually sell it in stores, but nobody drinks that stuff anymore.
I think I have seen it, but
or maybe they are. Maybe the teenagers are drinking it. We just don't know. It wasn't as easy to get though. Now it's not as easy to get now as it was when we were younger.
So let me ask you this. So I mean, like if our kids were 14, and yes, I know people were like, well, how do you know what your kids, they could be sneaking out doing that.
They probably did.
No.
Mine didn't,
I know
they probably did.
Because,
I know
she
mine
was
didn't.
always right there with me. And we had an alarm system. And so I made sure I got cameras.
Yeah.
Alarm system.
Same.
Camera outside.
Yeah.
I made sure I did all of that to make sure that she didn't do the stuff that I did. But to this day,
well, we lived in a different time frame too. What we just did, we would sneak out. Our parents didn't even. It's like I'm not going to say they didn't care, but I like to call our generation helicopter parent because we totally are. Our parents didn't pay attention to that kind of stuff. I mean, your mom obviously knew. Your dad was like baking in the sun, didn't he? Pay attention? And your mom like took 2 looks at you and knew that. And my mom will tell me stories like the story you just told me. My mom's got several of those stories when she was that age too. So.
Well, I can tell you, the sneaking out part and everything. I did. I did that a lot.
Me too. I had down to the science. I got a funny story about that.
And oh my gosh! And so I would stuff pillows and stuff in my bed, and so that if they opened the door, you could just see the lump. But I probably snuck out about, I don't know, probably 30 or 40 times. And I would stay out till about 5 a.m. and then come home, get in the bed, and get up at 7 to get ready for school. And just one particular night, I got dropped off after like the 40th time. And I'm walking up to the front door, and we had the glass screen door, and my mom's sitting there in her wheelchair. Yes, right now. Oh my god!
I have actually 2 that I thought about when you're saying that, but I got to tell this one because this one's the best. Okay, so because my mom got really mad, even I was 25 when I told her the truth. Okay, so I was probably about 16, 17, something like that, maybe. And so my mom had she had her car. I did have a driver's license. Let's be clear, but that's part of the story. But I didn't have my own car. I just had a driver's license. So I would drive my parents' cars, okay? So I took my mom's car to my boyfriend's house, literally across town, like freeways across town, 20 miles away. And it was my mom's company car on top of that. So I took my mom's car, I go over to my boyfriend's house, and then I'm like, okay, I got to go home and see, she didn't be getting up. And it wouldn't start. And I'm freaking out.
No.
And so thankfully, and my boyfriend was older. I think we discussed that in prior podcast that I always dated older guys. Don't know why. So he was able to get it to start. So I get it home, park it, go inside like nothing ever happened, right? She goes out the next morning to go to work. It wouldn't start. Oh, the battery's dead. So she fixes it and we move on, right? Then let's fast forward. So then we're at Six Flags. Me and my mom and my stepdad. And I was like 25. And I tell her this story. I'm married by this point. Okay. I don't have kids yet, but I am married. And she's like, oh my God, you did what? Do you know how much trouble you could have been in? That was my company's car, and just going off on me. I said, what are you going to do? Ground me?
Exactly.
I mean, I'm 25 now. And guess what? Nothing happened, so you're good.
I do that to my mom all the time. I go, you want me to tell you some stories? And she's like,
yeah. She still brings that story up all the time. I can't believe that you took my company car out. What if something had happened? I'm like, it didn't. So you're good. But anyway, I guess.
Oh, wait. I have one more.
Not to ambush your story.
Sorry, but no. When I was 15, I believe, 14, 15, I had a boyfriend that was older. I'd probably say 21. And so I was able to have people who I knew that were a little older and drive me around. And then, of course, my aunt, she had a flower shop in Eufaula. And so I had been with him for probably a couple months. And so then at that point, I went to my aunt's flower shop, and I wanted to get him a rose.
That's so sweet.
Yes. But then I tell my aunt, because black is my favorite color, can you dip it in some, black? And so she's like, oh, okay. And so I did. I thought it was the best thing, And I give him a black rose, and I still remember his face to this day. And he said, what are you doing? Wishing death upon me? Oh, I thought it was the best idea ever. Yeah, I guess that, people don't like that. But I mean, if you gave me a black rose, I would take a black rose. Would you?
But it is supposed to be a sign of death, though. I mean, he's not wrong. So, but I wouldn't mind it.
It's pretty. I think it's a cool idea.
But that is what it's for. I mean, in his defense.
Oh, all right, Jen. Do you have any crazy stories?
I was a good girl.
Why are we friends with you?
No idea. Why am I friends with you, naughty girl?
I don't know. I'm not even that same person.
Well, listen.
She kind of is.
Yeah. Kind of?
Okay. Well, listen. I know how to be a strict parent, and I know how to have fun. And I know things to do, and I do things that you're not supposed to do. So, guess what? I'm going to have a fun life.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, well, then let's dive into our topic for the day, which is going to be menopause.
Oh, that does not sound fun.
Oh, well, it's not fun, but we can make it fun. So we're not really. Well, we are going to talk about. I should say we all have different types of stories because
we do.
I mean, Jen and I are probably more similar a little bit, but she's a couple years younger than me, so I've been in it a little bit longer than her. But Kim's story is definitely different.
Yeah, let's hear your story.
You want me to start first?
Yeah.
So my take on it is like this. So I was going to the woman's doctor, the gynocologist, at a young age because I had really bad cycle cramps stuff. So I started at like 16. And so I ended up I was with a guy only because, yes, I didn't want it to be a guy, but at the same time, his dad was.
The doctor was a guy.
Yes. The doctor was a guy doctor, not a woman doctor, because my mom, the same doctor that delivered me, was his son. So anyway, I didn't want to go to him because he was retiring, but I wanted to go to somebody that would be around. So when I decided to have kids one day. So long story short, fast forward, I was with him, and then I had, my first child when I was under his care, and I ended up in a high-risk pregnancy, and after that situation happened, I was like, I'm not going back to him. So during that process, then I am now at, I guess, 28 years old. Yeah. So I ended up at a high risk doctor and ended up with a female doctor. And then, so I was not going through that. I was obviously not going through menopause at that time, but I was going through pregnancy. And even that, going from a male doctor to a female doctor while being pregnant was a huge difference, because she was so like, you know how they go to you and get on to you about how much weight you've gained, those kind of stuff. Like, you can't gain more than 20 pounds or blah, blah, blah. She was never that from the get-go. And then she was also pregnant when I was pregnant, so that was even more helpful. So then after when I get to the phase where I'm in what I think could be perimenopausal, I should call it, phase, I did feel like I was too young. I was about 38, and I started having hot flashes. So I kind of went, and I've always been told that's kind of where it starts.
Yeah.
Right. So, and my mom went through menopause at 50, which is relatively young. A lot of times it's later in your 50s, sometimes even. And so I had a conversation with my doctor, and I said, my mom had it went through menopause at 50. And I said, is it hereditary? And she said, well, it's not really necessarily hereditary, but it can be looping, meaning it can go back generations. And so my mom's adopted, so we really didn't know the history. And she says, well, it's this simple. I can just run a blood test and see what your levels are. I'm like, oh, okay. So she ran a blood test, and it showed I was in perimenopause state at 38. And so I had started doing like some health supplement lines during that time. And so the health supplements that I was doing actually completely knocked out my hot flashes, and I don't remember what else. I mean, I guess sleeping problems started kind of around that time too, maybe. And then I was no longer allowed to go to her anymore, because she was only accepting high-risk pregnancy type patients and no longer just regular gyno patients. So I ended up transferring to another doctor here at home, because she was in Dallas and I'm in Fort Worth. And I told that doctor from the get-go she had big shoes to fill. And she immediately filled those, because I kind of filled her in my stuff too. By that time, I'm about 42. And she again ran her own set. She's like, oh, I'll run a test too and see what you're at now. Again, I was in perimenopausal state still. And I still go to her now. And so I actually saw her today. She will still continue to give you feedback, like what she thinks you should do with this and what kind of symptoms are you experiencing. And, you got to be 12 months, no cycles, before you can start any type of estrogen or progesterone hormone replacements. I want you to be at that. So she's always kind of been in my box. And so then as I talked about a couple podcasts ago about my holistic medicine path, they're on that same page too. So I guess I've watched Kimberly, this lovely lady over here, actually asked us to watch an episode about menopause. And I'm like listening to all these ladies talk about how they were almost like, well, even like Halle Berry. So famous women, how they were pretty much shamed and like, nothing's wrong with you. All these horrible things were happening to them. They were being accused of all these horrible things that are going on in their bodies. And I did not have that experience. But then as I listened to them all talk, it turns out that if you start with a woman gynecologist, you might not have all these problems, because men just don't get it. Like they were saying that like a lot of women were coming in there and just saying like, of course you don't have a sex drive. I mean, that kind of dies out a little bit, but it's not just about that. But that's what the male doctors will just say. Oh, well, you just have a low libido or a low sex drive or this or that. We'll just throw this at you. And that's not all that we have going on in our bodies. And they just don't really, and they don't really explain it to you. And so that is my biggest takeaway is, I guess I'm fortunate because I've not been put in that bucket that I didn't get the great feedback from my female doctor.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a gynecologist that you love that isn't female and you have a male one, I would highly recommend that you go to a female one is first off what I would say. And if you also could go down the holistic medicine path, which in this episode that Kimberly had us watch, they actually talked about that too.
They did.
So, I mean, other than that, like I have sleep problems now. The last test results that I got at 48, I am just almost to the menopause. But again, you have to have no cycles, and I'm maybe having 2 or 3 years at this point, so that hasn't gone away yet. But I am definitely experiencing, and you know how I talked about how I have inflammation and pain all over my body? That was something they brought up in that lovely episode you had us watch as well. And that's could be even part of perimenopausal or menopausal symptoms.
Wow.
So maybe that's going on too. And that's why it's not going completely away. I've got it a little bit better under control. So anyway,
so you don't, and so when did the no sex drive start?
So that's a long while. And you know, I don't know. I mean, years.
Okay.
I mean, it's been years. It's just not there. I'm not saying I'm like going to turn my nose up to it completely 100%, but just about. But let's just put it this way. I don't care.
Yeah.
Without getting too impersonal, let's call it. Let's keep it PG.
I mean, PG-13 is fine.
Okay, PG-13. So, but it hasn't caused issues in my marriage, if you catch my drift, because he's also 53. So, you know, men go through that phase. Well, some of them. I guess some of them don't.
Not Kimberly's.
No, I got other ones that are older than that.
Definitely not Kimberly's.
So thankfully we're kind of on the same page of that at the same time. So it's not an issue.
That is a good thing.
But yeah, I don't care if I have it or not, if that's what you're asking.
Because I don't either.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we'll get to that. Okay. And is there any other like major
But so I don't have hot. Like what's weird is like I only had the hot flashes when I was 38. Before I was now I do take supplements, and a lot of those supplements do have things that kind of help with maybe those types of symptoms. So I think I said on your episode when you talked about your cancer story last week that I was a little bit hesitant about doing the replacements anyway.
Yeah.
But then also in that episode we watched, they said like that used to be the case, but there's only like did she say 1%, Jen? Does that sound right?
No, it was 10% of 1%.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't even a whole 1%.
Of a risk factor of breast cancer is what they were saying.
Yeah.
Oh, I was watching it going, give me the medicine.
Yeah,
Give me the medicine.
So I think I said in the holistic journey path I talked about that they have pushed that like to go ahead and start them, but because I'm not really having symptoms that haven't been manageable, or maybe I am and I didn't realize that's what is going on.
Very
it might
possible.
be. So, but my OBGYN, and I have to kind of take her guidance a little bit because we're doing other things too, and she's all for me doing it, but she said you really need to have no cycles for up to 12 months because they can't just do estrogen and not progesterone, but the estrogen, she said, if like we started doing that, in other words, if you don't take the other, then you can just have cycles all the time, which I do not want to do that either.
No.
I'm like
so glad I don't have any.
So I don't want to go back that path, but I don't really, I don't have hot flashes. I definitely have problems sleeping.
Yeah.
But I got that under control for the most part right now. I definitely have like dry eyes and dry skin and brittle hair and
let me ask about the dry eyes.
Yeah.
My mom is continuously complaining about dry eyes and that they hurt.
Mine are hurting right now. They're burning and itching.
And now I'm just like, I don't have that yet. But I can't imagine because I look at my mom and she's in a lot of pain. And she's like, when we're at the hospital in Waco, what I told the other segment, that, she said, I need eye drops. They're like, well, we don't have eye drops. So they got saline and just put it in her eyes. And I'm like, wow, that's terrible.
And I do know that, like, and I think Jen's going to hopefully touch on this when she gets to hers, but something that we learned, that, again, Jen and I weren't kind of clued into, but it does make sense, is it affects you mentally. We've already talked about in latter podcast that we have anxiety and stress, and well, actually we have, it would have been last week's, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, you already know that we've experienced those. And so we obviously had that even before we had premenopausal or menopausal symptoms, but it does talk a lot about that. Like you're mentally, you're more anxious, your heart races more, you don't have mental focus anymore. You can have depression issues. You can have, I mean, some women go really dark into depression.
Yes.
And I think most of that, though, is if you don't have good support system in place. Clearly, if you are going to a doctor continuously and saying you're having all these problems and they're giving you no solution or even information about it, again, I have not had that path. So I can understand, though, if you didn't get any information. It's like someone telling you, like, I was having those pains all over my body and no one was giving me, I'm not making this up in my head, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So I think I didn't really realize that it affects your mental
That brain fog?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I have that a lot right now.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right,
So when
Jen, tell us about your experiences.
So I don't really have a story. I will just say the symptoms. I already knew so many, and then watching that episode, I'm like, holy cannolis! Heart palpitations?
Mm-hmm.
Dry vagina, that I knew already.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's horrible.
Yeah, that's good times. But
And no sex drive.
see, for the longest time, that wasn't my problem.
Right.
That has been more recent. I'm just like, I don't care. Yeah, totally don't care.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Well,
What about your hot flashes?
Hot flashes that's been my biggest one since I think I was 37.
okay.
And the night sweats. Night sweats are the worst. And the insomnia is what's getting worse and worse and worse to where I hardly feel like I sleep. And then, the doctor said it was my thyroid.
Yeah.
But my numbers are just slightly off, so that's why I've been arguing with them this whole time. And then hearing all this, I'm like, wait a minute. No, it's got to be perimenopause. So I've got to go have the test.
Yes.
I haven't been to see my OBGYN in 15 years. That's on me.
I told her she
You
I know.
know
Wellness.
that
I know.
I'm upset about that.
I know. So that I will go do. And I also learned that urinary incontinence. Are you kidding me? So all the times I laugh and sneeze and pee, it's because everything's starting to fall apart because I'm getting old. Yeah, I do that.
I told her when she told me she hadn't been in 15 years. I said, they're going to go down there and they're going to go, what is this? What is in there? There's cobwebs, spiders.
I haven't seen the OBGYN in 15 years. I have had sexual relations. I mean,
it's not
Well, I'm talking about the looking in there going, let me get past the cobwebs. Oh, wait, there's 3 spiders. Okay.
yeah, I need to do that. That's something I should have done a long time ago. And I didn't even realize it had been 15 years. Maybe even 16. It's been way too long. So I need to do that. And that's why I kept saying, why has nobody mentioned perimenopause to me? Well, it's because I haven't been to an OB.
Well, yeah, I mean, had a chance for a doctor to tell you.
That would help a lot.
Yes.
100% brain fog.
Oh, yes.
The mood swings.
Yes.
Those are so much fun.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love them.
I love them
I
so
can be
much.
so happy, and then I can turn
know.
into biggest bitch
I don't
ever.
understand why the guys don't enjoy being on the roller coaster with us. I mean, it's fun.
Why do they have an issue with this? What?
Ride the highs, ride the lows. Let's go.
They kind of have their own,
They do.
which we will talk about in another episode,
yeah.
hopefully.
We'll talk about all of that.
But my hairdresser did bring up whenever I was talking to her about the podcast. She said, "Do you think men understand menopause?" I said, "No, they absolutely don't. Do they have one of their own? Yeah, but do they understand? No."
No.
The AC is probably our biggest.
Well, my husband works outside all day, so I don't have to worry about that. Because, I mean, but that's kind of weird. I'm the opposite of that. I'm freezing in. I'm like Kimberly is most of the time. I'm freezing at
I'm
night.
freezing all the time.
Not when I go to sleep, per se, but like evening when I get home from, and it's probably because my family has the air down already. So I'm not experiencing being on it because he works outside all day. So now in the wintertime, I'll tell you, we don't even turn the heat on, hardly. It's barely on.
If
I
it
don't
was up
stand
to me,
that.
it wouldn't be on.
Yeah.
I would.
So.
Yeah.
I won't.
I close my
I don't.
vent.
Yeah, I do too.
Mm-hmm.
I will not have the vent open during the winter in my bedroom, and I even close 1 or 2 in the dining living room area because I can't stand it.
I can't stand heat.
No.
But my night sweats have gotten worse and worse and worse to when I do finally fall asleep, then I'll wake up 3 or 4 times all sweaty and it's just misery.
Yeah.
It's getting worse and worse. So I'm going to have to get a little window unit or something.
Oh my gosh!
Ooh, a bed jet. If y'all have not seen a bed jet,
What's a
they
bed jet?
are amazing. It's like this little tunnel thing that goes
And
under
it
the
blows
blanket.
the air.
And whatever the temperature is outside of bed, it puts it underneath. It's like
Oh,
having a
wow.
little air conditioning in your blanket.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
You need one of those.
I need one of those.
Yeah.
My husband, my fan, it was like just a regular Lasco fan, and it died. And so I found this tower fan on Amazon, and I'm like, oh, I like this. Well, it's $160 or $69. And so I had sent it to him and said, hey, I would really like this one day. And so he actually bought it for me.
Wow.
Yeah, but so you have an app on your phone and you control it from your phone. And of course it has everything, bells and whistles. But what's crazy is that I went to Sam to go get some groceries, and Alyssa and I had just walked into Sam's, and to the right was this exact same tower for $39.99.
I'm going tomorrow.
But I don't think what I think is that it didn't have the app and probably not as much
just
built in
technology.
Yeah, but I didn't need all that
Yeah.
now that I saw that. But I do love my fan, and so but I like the noise.
Yes.
Yeah.
This one isn't as noisy as I would like. I mean, I would have a jet in my room with that loud sound.
Can I tell the story about
Oh,
when we travel? We talked about our girls' trips. Jen over here brings her box fan.
Sure
and I
do.
mean a box fan, like we had when we were kids, box fan.
yeah.
She brings it with us, and
I
she
do.
turns it on and is blowing. It has a distinct
Yeah, it
sound. A
does.
box fan does.
Yeah.
And she brings it with her every time we go.
Yeah.
See, I
take
just have a
it
ceiling fan.
everywhere
I ain't
I
nothing
go.
fancy. But I
Oh.
sleep with the TV on, so that's my noise.
Yeah.
So if I'm not with her on a trip, I have a black fan that I take on every trip that I go to because I can't sleep in silence.
Well, I
can't
don't
either.
sleep in silence either, but I just don't. I'm just the
I
fan was.
can't do the TV.
Yeah.
I have to
I
have
know.
the fan, and it has to be dark.
Yeah, I can't do that. So.
And then if I forget my fan and I go to dogs that I'm absolutely going bonkers, and I get the little app and do the fan app, and it's not the same.
It's not. I tried it.
It's not.
I mean, I do have to have the fan on, but I just have the ceiling fan on.
Oh,
I
I
don't have any
got that
fancy
going on
fan.
high. I've got my fan blowing on me on high. So now it's for the heat and for the sound. I have to have it for both. And then I do the blankets on and off.
Have you
on and off.
always been like that? That you had to have
I
a
still
fan,
do
your
that.
loud fan,
Yes.
even when you were younger?
Yes.
Okay.
My dad cut it because he cut the cord because he kept telling me
Oh
when I go
my.
to school to turn it off, and I kept forgetting. So one day he's like,
Oh.
Did you go get another fan?
he put it back together for me.
Did he use electrical tape?
No, you can tie. Yeah, you can tie things back together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
I
felt
know.
bad
Oh
for
my
cutting it.
God,
so he
I would
fixed
feel
it.
like it was going to catch on fire.
No, you
Oh,
can just
come
tie
on. We're
wires back
talking
together.
like the 80s, 90s.
Just rig
I
anything.
had a small little tube TV, black and white, with an Atari little Atari station on there.
Okay, I had that too.
I know. Okay, so why don't you tell us about your crazy stories?
Mine's a little
Yours
different.
is way different.
Yeah.
It's way different. I, of course, as you know, I've already spoke about it. I was diagnosed with cancer at 38. And so, when you're going through that, it kind of, I'm not saying puts you in menopause, but it brings out some of those.
Well, you're losing everything.
Yeah, you're losing everything.
Yeah.
Well, when I was 44, because I had the BRCA gene, they wanted me to have a hysterectomy to make sure I didn't get cancer.
Yeah.
And so how it ended up was when they sorry.
I'm sorry. We shouldn't laugh about it, but we can't not.
Okay. So, insurance is in year end and everything. And so, of course, I've got to have, my surgery before the end of December. Well, I'm getting married on December 26th, 2019. So when this was discovered that I need to do this now, it was 3 weeks before I got married. Well, okay, of course, this causes so much. Number one, I had already been fitted for my dress.
Yeah.
Number two, then it was a week and a half, I say, before that we went to go put the dress on after I've had my surgery. So I think I was only like in recovery for not even 2 weeks yet. And so we all went to, and I'm going to tell you, if you want to talk about a demon coming out of me, a demon came out of me that day because I did not want to try on the dress. I was horrible that day. I was just yelling at her, and like, I don't want to do this. And then I'm putting it on, I'm like just crying, and I'm like, this is horrible. And of course, I'm sure that had to do with the,
swelling.
Yes. So I was able to fit in it barely with all the swelling and everything. But that actually threw me into menopause.
Yes.
And so that was when I was 44. And so now I'm 49. So immediately, of course, I had the hot flashes. I have had everything. So here's a funny story. I think Jen knows what I'm going to say. But on my wedding, we got married. So it was on December 26th. And so there is this bar. So afterwards, after the whole thing, there was a few of us left. And we went to this bar that Larry and I would go to all the time. And so they had karaoke that night. So we went, changed clothes, went, and we were having fun. And so because of my hysterectomy, they say you cannot have sexual relations for 6 weeks. So we go to the bar and we're drinking, having a great time. And so Jen comes home with me. And she sleeps in the bed with Larry and I.
This would be her wedding night.
My wedding night. How close can you get?
Yeah.
I look
Poor
bad,
Larry.
and I feel bad.
Poor Larry.
But we couldn't do anything anyway. So,
He always says that I blocked him. I was like, no, I didn't.
Oh, yeah, he
the
says.
hysterectomy did.
Yeah. And so that happened. But the one, my gosh, the biggest thing, of course, the mood swings, the dryness is terrible. But the one thing that my OBGYN and my oncologist, they said I don't have any hormones. Zero. Like I test at 0. And they tell me I can't have anything. I can't put anything because I had the BRCA gene. They cannot give me anything. And so the only thing that my OBGYN gave me was estradiol, which is a cream that you use. But I'm still terrible at using that because I always forget. But maybe if I used it correctly, maybe I would experience not a lot of the dryness.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Well, that show that you had us watch, they actually talked about that. They said that it helps with your libido, basically.
Okay, it does not.
Okay. Maybe you guys see you have more stuff taken out. Maybe you might.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
Or again, maybe if you use it on a regular basis.
I don't know. But I will tell you, and I know Lori was talking about the sex drive. And Jen, I absolutely, since my hysterectomy, and I'm 49, I had this in 44, or when I was 44, I have 0. 0, 0, 0, 0. When I say 0 interest.
0.
0. Then I know, and my husband is not that way, and I feel really bad.
Yeah, he's like, if you would have told me before we got married.
Maybe you would have gotten married.
Yeah, he probably would have married me if he knew that this was all going to turn out this way. I mean, my personality can really only get me so far. But yes, I wish I was different. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I wish I was like I was before, and I just keep trying to mentally do it in my head, and the sad thing is for me to do anything, I have to drink. And I don't know. I hate that. I wish that I wasn't that way. And it's not changing. It's only getting worse to where I could go the rest of my life and be fine. So then about 3 months ago, I had my blood drawn, and that's when I found out I had the autoimmune disease. Well, now, then that same time, they ran the test, and then they said I'm at the end of menopause, like very end of it.
I wonder what happens after that.
Maybe
you'll suddenly be better.
Maybe I'll be better, or I'll get all the chocolate off of Willy Wonka and the chocolate.
Well, we were talking about throwing a stuff for you when you start menopause.
But maybe you're
we need to throw something for you when you finish.
Oh, I mean, we can throw something every week. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm all about that.
Okay. Yeah.
So that mine was just different because I got thrown into it immediately, and I didn't go through the perimenopause. So Oprah Winfrey had a show.
This is the one we've been talking about the entire time.
And so it's very interesting. I mean, it's like only 38 minutes. It's on Hulu. It has some famous people. They're all talking about the menopause and the things that they have gone through in perimenopause. And so it's a great, just go to Hulu, look up Oprah Winfrey special, and I called them today and said, hey, I need y'all to watch this before I come over. It's really good. I definitely think it's well worth watching. So
I didn't want to, but it was really good.
I mean, it really was great. Yes.
I tell them to do things all the time, and they don't do it because they don't believe me. And then it's like, hello, why do you listen to me?
Yeah. Yeah. So, we're all traveling down this road together.
Yes,
so much fun.
Yeah.
And so we just want to just tell y'all our experiences.
And comment if you have your own experiences. We love to hear them.
We love to hear everything and experiences and things. And but we just want to tell you, because no one talks about it. I mean, I talk about it with them. But, I'm not over there talking to anybody else. But, let me talk to you about my menopause. It's not something you just sit around and talk about, but you should. I mean, especially with women, your friends and everything, because y'all can work together and, talk about the symptoms, side effects and all that, and, be there together.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I have a couple of, I wanted to bring up my friend from high school. Her name is Heidi, and she actually has started on Instagram. She has started a kind of some workout videos, and it's called Hustle with Heidi. So follow her. But she gave really great advice too. Is like as we've gotten older in our 40s, which we are, and we've been talking about, you lose a lot of muscle mass. I think we talked about that, Kimberly, when you were working out a lot, and you were worried about losing weight, and I told you, well, it's really not about losing weight, it's going to be about your muscle. So and I think we had a comment on that podcast, in fact, that from a listener that said that it is important to have muscle mass, and at our age it gets harder and harder to keep that. So she was a great resource in saying that and not only that, but working out and doing all those kinds of things are building your endorphins, making your moods better or experiencing. You probably have felt that, right? Going to the gym?
Yeah, working out now and going to the gym. Absolutely. It makes me feel better.
Yeah.
And so I do my training twice a week, Wednesdays and Fridays. And then we have yoga on Tuesday. But I can always tell a difference when I go to the gym and when I don't.
Yeah. Oh, and again, I'm going to try to start going. Maybe next week I will walk or something.
Okay, you got to start.
I know.
Jen, you got to come back.
Yes, I know. It's been
a minute.
4 weeks.
It's been a minute. Okay.
So we just want to thank you for listening to our podcast, and hopefully, you were able to hear some things that you make you feel better. I'm not sure, but we just love to just tell our experiences, and of course, tell our weeks, tell my crazy stories. So I really hope that you've enjoyed this. Jen, do you have any last minute things to say?
Thanks for sticking with us this whole time, and we will See you next week. Next week's going to be a fun one. We are going to talk about the faults of our men.
Oh my gosh. I think I might get divorced after that one.
That'd be
fun. Nice.
I mean, come on. Yeah.
Some of us.
Thank you for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
And don't forget to subscribe. And remember, every day's a new beginning.
Every day's a new beginning.
Every day is a new beginning.
Bye.
Bye.